So, oh, Monato. Bro is hot. I want to sleep on his chest. Bro, do you do events? Or did you go to hard pity for everything? What the f? Why do you have the Mesmer at 5? You still don't have Bernice. I have news for you, but Bernice Vengeance is not really useful without Bernice. You skipped Ramiel. Oh my god, you skipped every single good unit in the entire game. What the? Anyway, let's have a look at your units. Generally, all of your substats are pretty high, right? On the units that need that. I mean, you don't really have units, so I guess that's the thing. But the units that you do have built have pretty good stats. 51, 162, 3. That's rather good. You have W5 engine as well. Not bad. Pretty good mana too. Your Banyo was good. So, not much to say. That's an HP percent, right? Yeah, that's an HP. Try to get a fire damage bonus one. That is hard to guess, but I think I like this one more. You do have Lucia, so you get a lot of sheer force. And you also get 30% fire damage bonus and 5% crit. I mean, you lose 2% crit rate, right? It should be about 2% better, I think. The only thing is we do want to go... you stay at the same subclan. You also gain 5% crit damage, right? One more crit damage roll. Lucia 23, that looks fine. You even are running ER. That is okay. You could also run ER here, possibly. Oh my... Pog, what the... Okay, you need quite a lot more substats to do that. You could run 2-piece Yunkui. That is something you can consider, right? Change the 2-piece here to like Yunkui or Bunny, then use ER in slot 6. In the end, you stay at over 24k HP, and you get 40% more crit ER, which can be helpful. That is okay. Yuzua M2! Not M1, bro, lied. It's M2 Yuzua. I do find that very pog. That's also a rather well-built Yuzua. I would probably recommend you getting Yuzua's signature if you can. People downplay it a lot, I think. So the thing with Yuzua's signature, it gives the entire team 60 AP. It's a stat that is obtainable by substats, as well as your main stat, as well as various other sources. However, if you have a unit like Alice, who has like no AP from her signature whatsoever, and you have like really low AP rolls, like this is the perfect example, right? It's not a bad Alice, but the AP rolls are really low. You are not gonna get more AP. This is your multiplier. It's 3.09%. That is your AP multiplier, right? For every assault. Yuzua's signature would add 60 to this. That is an increase of 20% to that multiplier. Would you still recommend the Yuzua engine for a team with Miyabi and the Stunner Idol? I would recommend Thought Pop for that team. Thought Pop is generally usually the same, if not better for Yuzua for most teams, with a very few exceptions. In my opinion, if you have to choose, just get Suna Sig and share it between Yuzua and Suna. That is the cheapest option, but from a versatility standpoint, it is cool to have both. Grace 208, yeah, your attack is dead. That is like one problem that Grace has. When you use Fusion Compiler, you want to use pen ratio slot 5, and you also want to use a 2-piece Puffer Electro, by the way. But that also means you are kind of sacrificing her entire attack, and Fusion Compiler has really low base attack because it's a standard weapon, and one of the big values this weapon gives you is that it provides 12% combat attack, but combat attack scales off your initial attack, and because of the way of how Fusion Compiler forces you to build her, you don't have any attack to scale off. And 12% of 2000 is just much less than of 3000. That is a bit of a problem that she has. I will be real, just use Practice Perfection, by the way. It's better. Nicole is Nicole. I personally would not recommend Vault, because maintaining this is rather ugly. For example, during stun, it's usually not all too difficult, right? Because you use like your EX special and your ultimate. But out of stun, you most of the time only apply your debuffs with your dash attacks. And in that case, Weeping Cradle is better. Also, I would probably recommend you attack in D5. Because, okay, your attack is actually not that low. But, oh yeah, don't. That is why your attack is not low. Use ER here. Your attack is really low. And that is why I would recommend you to just use... Do you have an attack 1 here? You don't. Asphal Voice, something, Pathons. Honestly, just literally use whatever, it doesn't really matter. But use attack here, because you do want to run ER here. Or in some teams, I guess AM, but usually ER. Your attack is really low, and she gains a lot of damage bonus from everywhere, right? She gains 25% here, assuming you have it active. It doesn't matter if you use Cradle or Vault, you gain a lot from here, you gain 80% from here, you gain DA buffs. You have 18% plus minimum 20% are 38%. Plus, if you have the additional additional ability active, it's another 25, so you're at like 63%. And then whatever kind of team you run her in, right? Plus the A buffs, plus boss buffs. The problem is that in this team specifically right now, the Weeping Gemini AP doesn't really do anything for us. Since we don't really do any disorders anyway. So... Can we get a parry? Thank you. I'm gonna allocate a few of Astra chains to Thingy instead. To Lycon. Can you do like something else? Why are you not... Let me parry, what the f... Why do you do anything but parry attacks? God damn it! I did not mean to do that. Okay, we very easily get 3 stuns. Not that that really does anything for us right now. Okay, so the answer is just use practice perfection, as with every agent, I guess. Just f*** your Weeping Gemini. And then we can optimize this further. We can optimize this further. I don't think I have any more things to say to you. Level your Neko. Yeah, for Miyabi, get Miyabi signature or something. Like, also level your soldier, I think. S11 is really good, with Norma, Astra. Level your Rena, farm Puffer. Puffer will be especially important for you when you have Dial-In, and Hormone is basically just a set you can use on every single agent ever. At all times. Doesn't matter. It's always gonna perform just fine. And sometimes it's best on slot. There are 2 possibilities, right? Because you're free to play. Possibility A, consider getting Remiel to free Yuzua for Mibibi. Possibility number B, get Secret instead. I probably would recommend you this. You can do that, but the problem is, even with free Yuzua, your Mibibi doesn't have signature, so she's always gonna underperform. And you are noticing that a lot. So I probably would recommend you just this one. You know what? This, I will be real, get Secret. Get Secret. Secret is a really strong unit. You already have Norma. You are considering getting Dial-In. And Rena is free and really good. It's the best in slot for secret, so just use this. You also don't need secret signature. It's good, but you don't need it. So just do that. I think the main problem is that you are lacking a choice of discs. Like, the discs you have are really good. You just really don't have any choices, which can make it rather difficult sometimes. Because, as you saw, it is sometimes really worthwhile to just switch around a few discs, right? The AM on Lycaon changed everything. Keep in mind, we initially tried your Miyabi with AM in D6, and it didn't really change much. And now the only thing we did is we used Practice Perfection and then switched your Lycaon to 2-piece Phaeton's Melody with AM in D6, and that allowed us to improve your score by 4,000 points. Sometimes it's just good to have a choice, and that is currently missing on your account. Choices.